Thanks for staying with us. Now, with a population of approximately 200 million, Nigeria is home to half of West Africa's young people, estimated at over 100 million between the ages of 15 to 35 years old. Now, 1 out of 3 young people are unemployed, and recent data revealed job seekers are applying for more than 20 jobs per day. Now, in 2020, Nigeria only created about 450,000 new jobs, while over 5 million people joined the labor force. This led to an increase in the number of unemployed by 4.9 million people in the same year. Now, the state of Benue alone registered by the end of 2020 the highest unemployment rate in Nigeria. In the fourth quarter of 2020, about 43.5% of the labor force in Benue were unemployed. Why are we not closing the unemployment gap in Nigeria, and what's causing the state of unemployment that we have in Nigeria? Please let us share what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. So I'll come to you, Uti, first. Before I come to LC, what do you think the biggest problem is with unemployment in Nigeria? Is it for lack of the right people to employ, or there are no jobs available? What exactly is the problem?
I think from my perspective, there are multiple problems.
Okay.
I mean, I always say that we're a retail dream, 200 million people, a largely youthful population. But when you take the surface away and you look a little deeper, then you start to find problems. I mean, I lead a team. I've been trying to find staff, and it's painful. The process is painful on all sides. It's painful for the applicants because there's lots of young people out there. Our education sector isn't pumping out the kind of graduates that we need. We have a focus on paper as opposed to real life skills that you can translate into the workplace. So for those guys on that end, I'm young, I'm starting a life. I want a job. I want somebody to give me an opportunity, but it's difficult. The opportunities, let's be honest, like you said, 450,000 jobs created in 1 year is a joke for a country of 200 million people. So the opportunities are slim. It's not that they're not there, because there are many roads to the market, but that problem is there. So from the perspective of the job seekers, of the young people, they're disillusioned. There's that. It's a hard process. Then you as the employer, I need to find people. I need skilled hands. We've talked about brain drain so many times. Jackpot is the new word. Every day organizations are bleeding. I mean, it's so bad now that organizations are talking to themselves, because look, it's almost like pillaging. People go to war and they just go, I'm going to grab everybody. So organizations are struggling to find people to fill the gaps. And these are skilled roles. The technology sector here is bleeding.
Terribly.
Developers and people are moving. They're going to Canada. They're leaving the country. So, and you leave organizations. You just talked about the downtime today. All of these companies face the same challenges. They're tech guys, they're gone. This guy, he left. Some of them is on LinkedIn, you find out, in Canada? Sure. So the reality of it is the problems are many. And then if you then come to the individuals themselves, we were having a conversation before the show about Gen Z. Now, I don't mean to pick on Gen Z, but man, you guys work a nerve. Like, they're hard to manage. Their perspective on life is different from everybody else. It's unique. And
realistic.
And the world hasn't caught up with them, so they need to try to keep up. The world will catch up eventually, but you need to assess the workplace as it is now and try to fit in. You can't be charting your own course now. You have an employer, you have expectations. So the problems, in a nutshell, there are plenty. Everybody's perspective is valid. How we get from here to there, I'm going to leave that one to the experts.
How about you, Elsie?
What she said.
I'll charge you.
What she said.
What she said, right?
Bam. Let's move on.
Let's move on. Let me bring in our guest. Rolake Rosiji has 10 years experience in strategic and operational management positions in businesses in renewable energy, FMCGs, and management consulting sector. She has advanced through a series of international level promotions and led multidisciplinary teams in Nigeria, UK, USA, Denmark, and across West Africa. As CEO of Jobberman Nigeria, Rolake strongly advocates advocates for a transparent labor market. She is here to speak on the growing opportunities in the labor market, and also she wants to tell us how she's able to create, or she's going to be creating, more jobs or opportunities for people. Thank you so much, Rolake, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
I saw you laughing all through Uti's conversations. I think she's cracking you up, you know.
Yeah.
But tell us, you are in a sector where you see these things every day. I mean, if Uti is complaining of problems of employment, I don't know how you're you are coping with the job, because if Utis, for instance, is getting maybe 10,000 CVs in a day, you're getting a million CVs in a day. And, you know, you have to sift through, you have to, you know, and so just walk us through the labor market. What exactly is it looking like today?
I mean, firstly, luckily for us, since it's our bread and butter to look for jobs for people, we're actually relying on the technology to do the hard work for us. So we have all the right algorithms on our platform online, which enables, if you're looking for anybody, you just put down, you know, the key skills you want, and the computer will do that hard work for you.
And filter, wow.
And filter. So I mean, depending on what you're looking for, you can go for one of our offerings where you'll still get thousands of CVs, because some people want that. They want the choice that maybe today I just want to hire a few, but then I can come back to all those other hundreds of CVs later. So I mean, that helps us in the job that we're doing, because really it is a big problem, like you're saying. So I mean, back to your question, what is the labor force looking like?
Yeah, labor market.
Yeah, I think everybody is suffering, you know, like everyone knows someone who's going through something, someone who's looking for a job, or someone who has a job but shouldn't be paying them what they are worth. So, you know, as you said to begin with, there's the 33%. So that's literally 1 in 3 people. You know, if you go into a supermarket, 1 in 3 people of working age is looking for a job, and then the underemployed figure is even higher. So it's a tough time, but we do see some positivity, and I want to hear more about what you were saying about Gen Z, because I really want to hear, because we get this feedback a lot, so I'm trying to learn from people who are hiring. But I mean, we do see some positivity. We've seen that, you know, since the beginning of this year, we've had an increase in the number of jobs people have posted on our website looking for staff. So, you know, there are people looking for staff, and we're not always able to fill these jobs. So there goes to your question of talent, and do we have the right talent? We have a skills gap.
So talking about algorithms and filtering, it's interesting because it means that there could be someone who has got the skills you're looking for, but if their CV is not tailored to the right words in terms of that job, they might not be seen, not talk of being considered or interviewed. So what would you say is the gap in that space for people to understand the importance of their CV, getting it right, and then being positioned for the job? Is there a gap, and how can that be closed?
No, there's definitely a gap, and you have it spot on. And when I joined Jobberman and I saw how the technology works, I said, I wish I could go back, you know, 15 years ago and tell myself to write a good CV, because I just did not know. You need to put down those specific words that the employer wants. So there are a lot of people who don't know how. So we even offer a service which helps people write their CVs, and the lowest price one is 5,000 naira. But I mean, there's a lot of resources online. You don't need to pay anyone. I mean, please do come to us, pay us. But you know, if you don't want to pay 5,000 naira, you can search online. You can't find tips. So there's a gap there, even in how. First of all, there's a CV. But when you now get to the interview, how do you present yourself? How do you talk about your past experiences? You know, some people have never worked before. So if you don't have experience, how do you now show off the skills that you do have, that you will be good in that role?
So many times I've sat in an interview and I just, you know how you have the CV, so you have the person's number, and you just think to yourself, I just want to help that child. I just want to help that person. I just want to call them and say, when somebody says, introduce yourself, you don't say, I hail from Ondo State. I have 3 brothers, and I studied at Ladoke Akintola University. Like, you have experience. Let's start from what is most relevant. It's a complete. So I think interviewing and CVs is a complete skill set. But Elsie, by the way, stole my question about the algorithm, because I was thinking the exact same thing. Like, you know, how do we need to structure the CVs? But I'd like to come back to. I mean, sites like Jobberman have closed a gap, a huge gap in Nigerian market, because in the past it used to be man no man. So you didn't even hear about the jobs.
Yes.
But you've created this platform that's user-friendly and people can use it. But given that we have, I mean, when I go on these sites, I don't know about you guys, I get overwhelmed. It seems like you search for one thing, like I'm in customer experience, and you search customer service or customer experience, and everything just comes pouring in. So is there a trick to getting the best out of sites like yours?
And you're talking about it from the perspective of an employer who's looking for staff, or job
you could take
seeker?
it from both sides. So for me, even from I've done it from both sides, either way it's overwhelming. But at least I think on the employer side, you could offer me a service and you can do the screening for me. So just maybe some insights into how we can get the best out of platforms like yours on both sides.
Okay, so definitely as an employer, we offer a range of services. So if you want the most basic, then unfortunately you will be inundated with all the CVs, but it can work to your advantage too. And then we have the ability for you to search on our platform. So you can search the keywords that you're looking for. Now, if you want it more specific, and especially when you're looking for people with more experience, if you're looking for, let's say, a waiter, it's easier to get a bunch of CVs and you now start calling them because there's not really a specific skill. You just need someone who can treat your customers well, who will not be rude, who will be polite, who will have a nice personality. But when you start looking for senior level people, C-suite, even any sort of management level, anyone who's looking after a team, then we have a suite of services where you can either do it online, where there's one service of ours called Best Match. We will give you the top 10 candidates for that role that you're looking for. And the computer has really done the hard work and we will ask you, what qualifications do you want? How many years experience? What certificate should they have? And then the Best Match will give you that. But then if you want to go a step further and you're looking for more concierge services that will just deliver you the best person for the role or the best three, then we have senior executive recruitment offerings, which are more offline because as well as the
like
technology.
talent acquisition.
Exactly. We have an on-the-ground team of expert headhunters who will find you those people. They have their own network. We have our network in-house, and then we'll actually go out, we'll find them for you, we'll do the pre-screening, and then we'll deliver you the top 5, for that role. So that would take out a lot of the legwork. Because some people just don't have the time, and some of the statistics we have show that a lot of people are spending up to 20 or 25% of that candidate's salary looking for that candidate. Because first you start with WhatsApp, you start with friends, you use one recruiter than another. So what we're trying to do is to make all of that a lot more transparent, as more cost effective, and that that when you now use the service, even if we tell you it's 2 weeks or 10 days, when you now get the candidate, at least they will fill the job that you want. So that's my advice. Go for the.
You mentioned underemployed. I'd like to talk a little bit on that, especially with the creative sector, where it seems like you are not earning what you are supposed to be worth, and that's just one part. When we're talking about brain drain, Uti, some people are not they're not just leaving the country. Within the country, especially in that tech space, they are not working for Nigerian companies. They are sitting in the comfort of their homes and working remotely.
They are here physically, but they are not here.
Because the remuneration is more profitable, getting that. So I want to see how we're bridging that gap when it comes to underemployment, where at least just pay me what I'm worth. Okay?
Yes.
That's all we're asking for.
Yes.
Is it too much?
I don't think so.
Okay.
But it's tough. It's tough in this economy, right?
Yeah.
Because so many people have been laid off. So even those who've kept their jobs, their employers are struggling to pay the same amount that they used to. So I actually think this remote working thing is a big opportunity for Nigerians, where people worldwide know that Nigerians are very smart. So I see Nigeria as becoming the next India. When you think about business process outsourcing, and you have teams of people in Bangalore, in India, serving HSBC in the UK or New York. That's where I see Nigeria going. So
I was going to come to ask, hold on, let's take a break. I was going to ask, so what's Jobberman doing, to help Nigerians? I don't want to get a job in Nigeria, I want to work abroad. Stay with us. We'll be right back. All right, so if you just tuned in, we're having an amazing chat with Rolake on unemployment and underemployment in Nigeria. So please let us hear what you have to say. Today, WhatsApp is not working. No. Please send us SMS, yo. Send us an SMS on 081-803-84663. WhatsApp is not working. It's a global something.
We're global.
So I was just going to ask, how did COVID-19 impact job seeking, the way job seekers look for jobs these days? And again, what you mentioned about people working in India, people living in India working for companies in the UK, in the US, and all of that. How can we also translate that to reduce the unemployment rate in Nigeria, where we have young people that have the skill, but they're able to work remotely? So at least it crashes this. Because COVID has taught us that there are no boundaries anymore. Everything can be done online. So how can we use, harness that opportunity that COVID has brought to us to say, you know what, we can also start seeking for jobs for Nigerians outside of the shores of Nigeria.
So first question on how has it changed job seeking? I think firstly, when people realize that you can actually be in your home on a laptop, your boss doesn't have to be looking at you for you to be productive. That just changed everything for the whole world, not just Nigeria. But we know that in our own culture, is even more so a culture where you really need to be sitting next to your staff to trust that your staff is actually doing that work.
Job,
So in the same way, that then translated into how people were looking for jobs. Whereas in the past, you have to knock on the door, go physically present your face. No, now people became more comfortable with emails and then applying online. And yet, to your question of remote work, can we use that to plug some of these gaps? If we're saying that there's 450,000 jobs that are created roughly year on year, but then unemployment is growing in the millions. So do we look overseas? I think, yes, that's one option. But we are here today and we're here now. The problems are real. So, what I would say is, how do we encourage private sector to employ more people here on the ground in Nigeria? How do we get the economy back on track? But back to the remote working, yes. I've spoken to, even in the last week, a company that is placing Nigerians based in Nigeria in jobs, in the US, particularly tech jobs in the US. And she was telling me how she has another competitor doing a very similar thing. And then at Jobberman, of course, we get several requests for people to be placed in either international jobs where they want to relocate the person from Nigeria overseas, or in remote jobs. So that has increased since COVID started. And that's an area that we're looking into with interest to see whether this is something we should actually even expand how much we're doing here, because you can be anywhere and working overseas. So it's a very interesting space right now. Awesome. And you're seeing companies like Facebook who have really introduced remote working completely. Even I saw last week PwC in America said, okay, everybody can just stay working from home forever. So it's a really, really interesting trend, and we are getting more requests like that from partners overseas.
The world has changed, it's moved on, so I feel like I have so many questions now. In that short space of time, we said so many things. BPO is one that I'm very interested in, because I have a customer service, customer experience, contact center background. Of course, BPO is made for contact centers, and I know that we have some companies that have set up BPO here, but the infrastructure issues, so I'm going to just leave that question. I'm going to leave that question to the side. But it's interesting when we talk about these options. It's great that our young people can work remotely and earn FX. But how does that impact the local market? Because we still have a huge problem. So if now we're opening the doors to people working remotely for a company abroad, your telco still needs to be online for your bank to work. How do we find a balance? I don't know if it's government policy. What are your thoughts there in terms of,
Yeah, I think whether it's public sector, private sector, and then the NGO, civil service, everyone needs to work together. So what we're doing at Jobberman now, our bread and butter is our online recruitment platform, and then our executive recruitment team that's offline, where we're placing people in jobs. But more recently, we've taken on a lot of work with foundations. For example, we have a partnership with MasterCard Foundation to place 3 million Nigerians in jobs by 2025. 3 million, and then 5 million through soft skills and employability training by 2025. And that's, one of the most exciting projects that we're working on, because it means year on year, we're able to put large numbers.
Close the gap.
Yes.
Are there
Yeah, so-
restrictions? Oh, sorry. Elsie, go ahead. Okay. I was going to ask, are there restrictions for the kinds of people that you're looking for? So, for instance, was it last week a report came out that said the UK was looking for drivers and you're laughing and farmers,
Christmas
and they were
turkey.
going to give them visas to
3-month
work.
visas.
Yes, to work from October all the
To
way to
December
December, then they
24th.
come back to Nigeria. So, I mean,
Who told them they want to come back? If they want to make it juicy, they should make it juicy, but go ahead.
So I'm just thinking the kinds of jobs that Jobberman is, or the kind of people you recruit for and all of that, is this just restricted to this structured workforce, or we're looking at the people, maybe people that don't even go to school at all. Are we mopping all of those people up from the street?
We actually are. So we're
Okay.
looking across the board. So I think that's one of the special things about Jobberman, is that we do from the most senior level roles to people who may not have gone to university, people with vocational skills. So actually this year we started a partnership also with NYSC to train all 120,000 young people that are going through NYSC this year. And then the partnership with MasterCard, where we're actually getting the highest number of placements, it's a lot of jobs like agent bankers, so all these fintechs who are now looking for agent bankers to use a POS to accept payments wherever they are in Nigeria. So it includes also, blue collar roles, factory workers. So it's across the board. But when you're talking those big numbers, it's easier, and when we're looking at the lower level jobs.
So I'm currently working with a startup, and
Okay.
recruiting is a problem, right? And you have this gap. And for me, I sometimes wonder if the gap is more in soft skill or hard skill. And you mentioned something now about the trainings and then soft skill. How would you describe what is going on in that gap when it comes to skills? Do we have more problem with soft skill or hard skill?
Such a good question. That's been coming up a lot. So we're doing this training exclusively on soft skills because we did a lot of research that was backed by the International Labour Organization and many other organizations to prove that soft skills is actually the thing that determines whether or not someone not only gets the job, but then now keeps the job. So of course you need that hard skill if you're in customer service or if you're a software developer. Of course you need the hard skill to even get the interview. But when 5 of you have the same certificate, who are they going to choose? The person who communicates better, who has more emotional intelligence, who's better at timekeeping, who shows up on time, who's polite. So we realized that, as Jobberman, we can't develop a course for every single technical skill. Well, because we saw the gap with the soft skills, that's why we developed a soft skill curriculum. And we've had so much positive feedback. In fact, last week we launched a new initiative called the Alliance for Better Work. And the idea of the Alliance for Better Work is that if you become a member of this alliance, it's driven by Jobberman with our partnership with MasterCard Foundation. You'll get discounts on recruitment, you'll get pre-vetted candidates, you'll get assistance with onboarding. And when we launched this last week, 3 different organizations said, oh, that's your soft skills training course. We actually use it as onboarding. So when people join our company, we take them through that course, just so people know that when they come into our company, this is what is expected of you. This is how you behave. This is how you treat one another. This is how you work in a team. So yeah, we're seeing a lot of interest in it, and definitely it's something that has been missing across the board. I was kind of say Gen Z, but actually it's really across the board.
Hey, trust me. It's everywhere.
I want to quickly just add to that, because soft skills is important. But another thing that I'm also seeing as a gap when people have actually gotten the job is a culture fit. Now, does an algorithm find a good culture fit? Because it's such a huge thing. People come in and you were talking about it today, that what do you stand for as a young person? What do you want to be known for? And some of these things, they're very difficult to sort of weed out at that stage. So what does Jobberman do to help?
Can I ask you guys a question? What's the culture here? So what would be the culture fit that you would want here?
So I mean, so I won't use the organization, but I think culture is it's different. You don't have a culture of one. It's a collective.
Yes.
But you find that where you want, sorry Gen Z, but where you want people who are thinking not maybe outside of the box, but thinking holistically. Yeah. So who are seeing that I have to go the extra mile. Like you said, some of the soft skills, timekeeping, reliability, credibility, all of these things, they matter in different mixes to different organizations. So let me keep it that way. But how do we assess these things? How does that jump out of a CV? I can tell you what certificates I have and that, but you know.
I don't think it can. I just don't think it can jump out of an algorithm, that's for sure. Out of a CV, perhaps, you know how some CVs have a profile at the very beginning where you talk a bit about yourself and your background and you share your personality. I think that's quite important because it tells someone your story. So it's not just your skills, what you did, your certificate. You tell a little bit about yourself, where you came from, how you started, why you chose this career. So I think that helps to show people how you think and a potential employer how you think. But I think you actually just have to have that conversation and that interview to get a sense for people. Even me, despite this move into remote working, and Jobberman is driving the Alliance for Better Work, and we encourage remote working, I like to meet a candidate face to face. I'll have the phone call interview, maybe one or two, but then when it comes down to the crunch, I want to meet you first face to face and get your energy, really get a sense of your personality. Yeah.
So there's the Nigerian.
I thought there was a magic formula you were going to give me.
When you find out, please let us know. We'll try and build it into our algorithms.
I say, that algorithm, we'll go build up together. You know, I was going to ask that, you know, there's the Nigerian factor when it comes to things. And so what factor is that one thing that you've really struggled with, you know, in Jobberman, for instance, with recruiting young people or helping companies recruit young people? Because sometimes young people just keep going, there's no job. I want to believe that that's not 100% true, right? So there's, I mean, I don't know who mentioned the thing about also the attitude and all of that. It's very important. So tell me what the biggest struggle has been in terms of trying to even close this unemployment gap in Nigeria.
So let me give two answers to that. So I think the first one, you know, young people saying there's no job. And as much as we've been knocking Gen Z, I think we also have a lot to learn from them. I think they grew up quite differently to us, and they're very bold, and they know how to ask for what they want. And I think, as you said at the beginning, we need to also mold ourselves to fit them. So when people say there's no job, I don't like this job, it's also the responsibility of an employer to sell that job and to sell your own culture and to prove to that person what they're going to learn. So you give them a career path. You don't just say, oh, come here for 1 year, do this, bye-bye. Give them the vision. Okay, after you succeed in this role, this is where you'll be promoted to. This is where you can go when you do well. So you can't just expect someone to be motivated without cause. Motivate them. Show them the cherry at the end of the hard work. So I think that has been difficult, you know, because we have done a lot of different interviews for so many different companies, and they say, oh, but this person is lacking passion. But when you now give the advice to the employer that, okay, but did you now tell them really what they can get out of this? Have you shown them that your culture is somewhere they can build a long-term career? You know, then they say, okay, let's rethink this. And then your question about, you spun your question at the end to how does this help plug the unemployment gap? We've had a few requests from large dispatch and tech companies to look for dispatch drivers. You know, we see them all around Lagos nowadays. And we've really tried our best because these big companies are looking for 200 drivers a month because they all want to scale up across Nigeria, food delivery, electronics delivery. We've tried so hard to find the right drivers, and we've really struggled. And, you know, when we first got these requests, I was excited that, yes, we'll quickly place people a lot. But then actually going out to the parks where the Okadas are parked and convincing them to have a day-to-day job and a monthly salary, no, they'll rather often do a job where they know that, okay, today I'll get this money and tomorrow I can go to the factory and do something else. So that's really been tough.
So talking about...
that's an interesting perspective. But go ahead.
Talking about molding us to understand Gen Zs as well and culture. And for culture, now I'm not talking about culture fit. I'm talking about the culture that unemployment in Nigeria has given birth to in the workplace, regarding being appreciated and understood where you work. So when you listen to or read a lot of LinkedIn motivational posts, you see that there is a bit of friction between some HR professionals and the other. And some will tell you when you get to a workplace, take whatever you see there, hook, line, sinker, and don't complain. And like you said, Gen Zs are very good at saying, this is what I want and this is how I want it. Now, in recruiting or getting talent for C-suits, what do you think can be done to help them understand how to manage Gen Zs as well, and also how to give people passion to work for their platform? Because I'm not going to work in an environment where you want to make me feel like if I'm not doing this job, then my life is over. That is basically how a Gen Z would think. So how do you begin to help the C-suite members understand how to be good managers of this talent? Because they're amazing people as well, even with their shortcomings. So how does that work?
That's subservient kind of, you know, if you, I mean, like, my life depends on your job. It's a very nasty thing to do to any human being.
It's horrible. And I feel that with the unemployment situation, it's even more prevalent because some employers can feel that, but this person owes me their livelihood. They owe me. They have no other choice. There's actually a competition for talent right now. So as much as there's unemployment, the people who are good, many people want them. So, you know, even personally in our office place, we've had someone just move to Canada, someone moved to the UK. So overseas competition, but also competition here in Nigeria, moving to different companies. So advice for C-suite or for anyone who's a manager is show that member of staff of yours that you appreciate them. You know, the same that you do for a friend or for a family member, show that person you appreciate them. Because I think we spend a lot more time with the people we work with often than with even our own family. But many times you don't know that that person appreciates you or your boss appreciates you. So show that person that you appreciate the work they did, that you're grateful. When they do something good, give them positive feedback. Don't wait for them to want to leave. To now start saying, but you were so amazing. It's too late by then. When they've started looking for a job, it's too late. So I think that's my one key piece of feedback. Just keep that dialogue and tell people when they do a good job. Let them feel appreciated. Yeah.
You're going to say something.
And that will foster more hunger and ambition. When we all know it. When someone appreciates us, you want to do more, right?
Absolutely.
So I would like to, I like the fact that you sort of showed how Jobberman is not looking just at one particular type of employee. We're going right from blue collar all the way to executives. But I want to look closer at the blue collar, the not so educated people. Because we've seen with the wake of COVID abroad, things like the 0 hours contracts and all of those things have come into play. Not everybody, 400,000 jobs a year is pittance. So not everybody is going to get into this formal sector. What else can we do to close that gap? Because more people are being born every day. You know, we're pumping out young people. People are graduating. Some people are not even getting the opportunity to go to school, but they will have a life. So how can we help that side of the labor market? Because it's feeding into those numbers of underemployment and unemployment. How do we start to, you know, any thoughts on closing that gap a little bit? I know, you know, the governance and all of that has a part to play, but just from your perspective.
Yeah, one thing I really believe is that we cannot plug this gap with just white collar and with office jobs. So at Jobberman, we're really focused with our Mastercard Foundation on 3 sectors that we see have been growing fast: technology, agriculture, and the creative sector. So, you know, majority of people in agriculture, you don't have to have gone to any university. You can have vocational skills. You can understand agronomy. So yeah, definitely, I believe, you know, we need to focus on these areas that are not just about university grads, because the numbers are too big, and we know the reality on ground in Nigeria. The number of people going to university is too small, and we don't want to push everyone. That's not for everyone.
Exactly.
So agriculture, I think, is one area. Across the creative sector, on our website, we have actually very detailed research reports that are available publicly. Anyone can download them. It tells you in the digital and tech sector, what are the jobs that people cannot fill in Nigeria? Software developers, UI, UX designers, cloud computing. It tells you in the creative sector, what are the jobs in creative that people can't fill? Videographers, different things. I don't know it, but it's in the report. So So you can read it for yourself. And then we're about to publish an agriculture skills gap report next week. So yeah, we need to encourage people to be proud of vocational skills. It's not just university degree.
Well, you won't blame them now. Nigeria, the Nigerian culture, if you haven't gone to the university, you're not to be respected. If you do not own a degree. So that's why a lot of people, then when you own a degree, you should own a second class upper or a first class. Anything two below, you're not employable. So it's a big deal. And that's why even with the certificate, a lot of people just go pay money to get a 2-1. By the time they're in front of Uti, they cannot speak English. I hail from Ondo State or whatever she said. But I think, we've had a fantastic conversation. I think we should do this more often because I realize that a lot of times, we just need to open up the eye of people to see that there are better opportunities everywhere. Sometimes we are limited based on the information that we have.
Yes.
So imagine if we open up our minds. 200 drivers is not a joke. 200 riders. So why would I not take on that employment? So what's the issue? So it's not for lack of jobs. It's that some people also do not understand some of these things. But I like for us to have a conversation again on this. Thank you so much. We've run out of time.
Yes, we have.
Especially for people that recruit and like the welfare, the well-being of your staff is also important.
Yes,
it plays a huge role. So if I offer you a job to be a rider and I say, it comes with health insurance, it comes with, I'm sure you would be, wooing that staff.
Yes,
You will be willing to jump on that job beyond just the job itself,
I agree.
I think it's been a fantastic conversation.
Yes, it has.
I've really
Thank
enjoyed
you.
it.
Thank you, Rolake. We'll bring you back, definitely. Thank you so much.
When you have one more plug,
quickly,
come online and apply for the Nigeria Jubilees Fellows Program that we're hoping to run. So anyone listening, it's for 20,000 graduates starting next year.
Awesome. Age, what's the age range?
18 to 35.
18 to 35. So if you're 18 to 35 out there, this is for you. Remember we said we'll be doing giveaway. You just had another one. Thank you, Utielu. Thank you, Elsie Godwin. Thank you so much, Rolake. We had a fantastic conversation. So before we go, do ensure you follow us on Instagram. It's at PlusTvAfrica. You can drop a comment. Most importantly, we're planning a giveaway. Rolake just gave you one. If you're 18 and between the ages of 18 to 35, go to their website and go register for a program. It's going to change your life. All right. So follow us at PlusTvAfrica. Interact with us further. Drop a comment. And most importantly, we just said we're planning a giveaway. So take advantage of that. If you missed today's quote, here it is again. One focus for economic development is the local unemployed and underemployed. If you want to grow any economy, just take on that market and be that sector. Things will change. We'll see you tomorrow at 8 p.m. as we bring another great conversation to your screen. Enjoy your evening.